I was here, and we were celebrating my grandparents' anniversary. And it was a very different time. I had good stories that were really funny, and it was a celebration. So over the last, I think it started in July, we were all sitting around the table. We were here for some rodeo or something, I don't know, and something to do with horses. And at the end of the day, the women were sitting around the table, the men were in the other room with the TV too loud. That's what Honey would say. That TV's awfully loud. And we were sitting at the table, and she looked at me and she goes, "So, what stories are you going to tell about me when I pass away?" And I looked up at her and I go, "What stories do you want me to tell?" She goes, "Well, I have a few." And she told me one, and I said, "Oh no, we shouldn't tell that one, because I'm sure it'll be at the church." She says, "I know. And they'll know." I said, "I don't think so." And so she says, "What stories do you want to tell?" I said, "Well, all right, I'll tell that one, but what other story do you want me to tell?" So she wanted me to tell that the reason why she's such a good chivalrier, I don't even know how to say the word, is that it happened to her. So when Papa and her got married, apparently, now the story's changed over the years, but when they got married, they didn't tell anyone, okay? So they ran off, got married, came back, didn't tell anyone that they ran off and got married. Well, when they finally did, you saw the picture, they were on their honeymoon, people snuck into their house and took all of the canned labels off of their cans or their jars or whatever. I'm thinking cans, maybe jars. And she had no idea what they were eating until they opened the can. And she said that was really hard when we didn't have a whole lot to eat, and the 3 things I opened were all the same 3 things. So Papa got good at eating whatever she fixed, which is good if I'm the cook and you're my husband. I don't cook very well, but Honey learned how to cook. So she wanted me to tell you all that she taught me how to cook chicken and dumplings, which, this is the part that's not true. She, on the phone, said, "Okay, now get a box of, blah, blah, I don't even remember, and just sprinkle it until it looks good." I said, "Honey, you're on the phone, and I'm here, and I don't know what look good looks like." "Well, you'll know. Just sprinkle it, because you'll know." I said, "No, I don't know." And she said, "Just sprinkle it. It'll be good." So I sprinkle it, and then I'm cooking these because the boys want me to cook them. Such a bad mistake looking back on it. But I have all of my stuff put together. She keeps telling me how easy it is. And finally she goes, "Okay, now drop in the dumplings." I said, "You didn't tell me to cook those." She goes, "Oh, you don't cook them. You drop them in." Well, okay, well, you didn't tell me to make the dumplings. She goes, "Oh, right." This is still on the phone. And it's long distance. It's when long distance was long distance instead of, cell phones and no long distance. I said, "Okay, so what do I do?" "Well, don't tell anyone, Sid, but I never really make them either." I said, "You never really make them either?" And she says, "No. I go to the store and I buy those things that you crack them on the side of the counter and it comes out, And I said, "Oh, I've made those before," right? Heat up the oven and put the little biscuits in, right? So I say, "I have those." And there's actually a sigh of relief on the other side because this has been a really hard process. And this is all for Taylor and Nate, who wanted dumplings that evening. Still a dumb idea. And so I drop them in, and the kids come in, and they're all excited. I said, "I have Honey's dumplings." They should have known. And they taste it, and they said, "Oh." I said, "I didn't get it right, did I?" "No." So apparently, that sprinkling part, it didn't look right. But the next time I see her, I give her a big old hug. She asked me how the dumplings turned out. I think Taylor said, "Not very good." And that was that. That's the last time I tried it, and that's the last time we attempted dumplings at my home. Except that day she decides that she's going to tell me the secret to gravy. I said, "Well, that last thing didn't turn out very good, honey. I don't think I'm ever going to make gravy. I think I'm just going to bring pie every time we have something together, and I'm in charge of something. I'm going to bring the dessert." Her saying was, and Papa would go with this, dessert should come first. You should always eat dessert first because you don't know if you have enough room for it if you eat the whole dinner. And I was all for that. So she whispers in my ear, "Do you want to learn how to make gravy?" And I thought, why not? She goes, "Well, I don't really know how to do that either." She goes, "Someone else always made it." And I said, "Very good." So So we moved on. I had pie. I don't think we had gravy on the table probably, but Honey was a magnificent cook if it was something she wanted to cook. And everyone looked forward to Odell weekend with chickens and dumplings. My favorite was the banana with the whipped cream on top. I'm going to figure out how to do that now because, well, she's not here to help me with it. But she loved a lot of things. She loved being with Papa and a horse. She loved watching TV when it was this sappy, tear-jerking thing. When no one was looking, you could see her dab her eye, and then when you looked over, she was just fine. So she liked to watch TV with us. She loved to travel. She loved to take anyone with her that would go, and if it was farthest away, across any kind of ocean, she'd go with you. And I remember her taking us to Disney. Well, Mom and Dad took us to Disneyland, but she's the one that bought me all the things that they told me I couldn't have. So my mom took that trait, by the way. If I say no, she still does it. I'm just saying it in front of everyone. And she loved to travel, so I really wanted this Minnie Mouse, and I think that I had a certain amount that I could spend, and I'd already spent it, and my mom told me no. And behind her, my grandma was doing this. And I went like this, and she went like this a number of times, and so I waited. Next time we got back to the hotel, guess what was in her purse? Yeah, that Minnie Mouse. I don't think my mom was very happy, but what could you do? We were back at the hotel, right? So that's what she taught me, that if you want something, you go for it, and get in trouble later. She really did. She also loved her birthday. So in that video, if the music that was supposed to be, you know how some things just don't work out, or sometimes they do. So there was some music that went with that I sat there and bawled when I watched it last night, that probably I would have been a puddle right now if it would have been on today. So when we come back in the back, we'll have it on with the music that my sister cued with it, and just bring a Kleenex box with you. But I have a list of things that my grandmother loved. She loved birthdays, and she liked that Labor Day was scheduled on her birthday, so that when we were all camping, everyone could bring her gifts, a cake, and happy birthday. So in that video, you saw how excited she was when the candles went out. She loves tomatoes, so I have never seen anything like it, but Yvonne and her would sit at the table and, you know what sounds good right now? And Yvonne, or not Yvonne, I'm being Verla. Verla would say, what, Charlotte? A tomato. And they don't say tomatoes, they say tomatoes. A tomato. And I was thinking to myself, that doesn't sound good to me, but I sat there and watched them, and my mom got them a tomato out of the kitchen. And she brings it over, it's not sliced, it's just like an apple. And she gives them both one with a napkin. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't get this. But I don't say anything because it's them. And if you've ever sat at the table with Charlotte and Verla, you know it's them. And so take a bite. They don't even cut it up. Next thing I hear Annie say, you know what else we need? Verla goes, yes, we need some salt. They would sit there and go, what a good tomato. And I was like, oh my gosh. So in July, I said to Grandma, what's your favorite fruit? She said, tomato. I said, what's your favorite vegetable? Tomato. And I said, it's either one or the other. She goes, no, it's not. So there you go. Another thing that my grandmother absolutely adored, and if you look around here at her granddaughters, she liked to bling it up, okay? So here's my bling. Here's my other bling. And I don't know if you guys know what time it is, but here's my other bling. Can you see it from back there? Yes, you can. It's got a lot of bling to it. Clip found it under her bed, so apparently the dog had it or something. But it just didn't match, so I had it covered. But now we'll check the time. It doesn't work, but I'm wearing it anyway. She loved bling. So at first when I started my job, I did a lot of traveling to learn how to do my job. I went to school to do my job, but never really learned how to do it. And then they sent us off on a travel when they realized there were some things lacking. And one time, I was sent to New Orleans. Now, when you get to New Orleans, you say New Orleans. You don't say New Orleans. But Grandma said, oh, you're going to New Orleans? You need to earn me some beads. This is the story I didn't want to tell. And I said, why, Grandma? Do you know how you earn beads in New Orleans? I most certainly do. And I said, I am not doing that. And she says, well, I want some beads, and I want you to bring them back, and I want you to earn them. I said, no, I'm not doing that. She goes, I bet you do. I said, I'm not going to. So I get to New Orleans, and I'm shopping for some beads. I'm not going to earn them. And I came across this necklace. And it has an ace, a jack, a queen, depends on what side you look at it, right? Oh, those are perfect. So I bring them back. It's around Christmas time, and I wrap them up, and I give them to her under the tree. Well, the reason why I'm wearing these, the reason that this is so important, is did you see the picture of her concentrating on her cards? When you're at Odell and you're playing cards, some people do it for fun, some people do it to pass the time. My grandma did it to win.
That's right.
Okay? You're not going to play to win. You might as well not play,
That's
Sydney.
right.
She said that to me often. I'm checking my time, sorry. My mother told me I had a certain amount of time.
Yeah, me too.
And he backed it up with, you know, that the police start at 2. And I said, the police? Apparently we're on timeline. So, anyway, I checked the time. I got time for this story. So, you're sitting at the table. Verla's usually across from Honey. Okay? Here and here are Les and Terry. And more than once, you'll hear Verla say, you boys are cheating, and I'm not playing with you anymore. And I would be sitting around the campfire, and I'd be watching, because I didn't play to win. I played to sit and visit, and that is not okay when you're playing cards. So, we've gone over that. So, Honey's got her cards out. Everyone's bidding. Les and Terry, I think they are cheating, but Terry's not here. Les is. It's 50-50, who knows. So, sitting there with her cards, and I see this. Yes, I did. Verla's over there, and I see her do this, and Honey's hand moves down to hold her cards. Terry and Lester may have been cheating at the time and missed it, but Verla takes the bid. She says, diamonds. That's right. Honey's not here, and I told the story. I looked over and I went, oh! Like that. It actually comes out. And she looks at me. So I don't say anything, right? I'm sure Terry and Les have their own little signals, but I'm sure that maybe every once in a while Honey might say, does anyone have any Tums? Right? Because she had some heartburn. We went riding at the club the other day. I started paying attention, and that's why I don't play with them, because I actually play by the rules. And she played to, what was it? Yes, win.
That's right.
That's right, play to win. Sorry, Les and Terry, I don't know. Is Les here? To stand? Oh, nice. Neither one are here. So they both cheated. Both sides cheated. Because I used to see Les and Terry with their little signals. Theirs weren't as obvious, but I don't really know what that means. But, nice. That's fun. They're not here. Okay, so now I am sitting with Honey. This is 3 weeks ago or so, and they've left me to babysit. Papa's off doing something, Carolyn's doing something, my mom's doing something. And over the course of the weekend, I'd heard Honey say to my mom, Connie, I'm hungry, or I'm thirsty, or I'm whatever, right? And my mom would hustle over, bring her something over, and she'd go, that won't do. And she would want something else. I was watching the waiting happen, and okay, Honey didn't want to get up, right? Carolyn would come through, and she'd need some help. And, Carolyn, I need some help. I need some help. Danielle would come through and do something, and they would ask her something. Well, when it was just me, she looked at me, and she goes, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I said, you need some help? She goes, nope. I said, wait a minute. And she goes, I know, right? Checking the time, because I got more. My watch says I have 5 more minutes. Oh, wait a minute. Checking the time. Still doesn't work, but... Okay, so another thing about my grandmother. She loved her dogs. She loved her dogs so much that she taught them to sing. She painted them orange or pink, or she had a poodle that was white. My mom will say apricot, I don't know. Anyway, she would dye it. I don't know what color it was because she would dye it. Like with food coloring, pink or orange. Put it in the dryer, she'd hang on to it, let the dryer roll down, dry it out. That was me as a young child. I think there's some things that one sees that one should never see as a young child, but I saw that. Later on, she moved on to Pomeranians, and she raised them, and she gave them away, and she would call me sometimes and say, I have some Pomeranian puppies that I need you to sell in Eugene. She'd send them home with me. I'd have 5 of them. I would have poop and pee, sorry, everywhere because I wasn't very good at keeping them contained. But every time someone would come buy them from me, I would just sob, like I'd fallen in love with them in 2 weeks. And I loved those dogs, and I'd give them away, and I would cry. So she gives me one. And hers would sing. She would hold her right here, and she would sing, "Now sing with me a little bit, half pint." She had 2 names, similar names. And she would sing, "Jesus," and they would go, and all the little kids would say, have her sing, and so she'd have them sing. They weren't really singing, I think that they just wanted us to stop doing it, but they would sing with her. And finally, she has Lucy, who Lucy loved my grandmother, and she would sit on her lap, and Lucy now is looking around for Grandma, and she is settling for Papa, which that's not a bad settle in my opinion, that Papa is going to hold her and take care of her and love that dog, and Lucy never really liked me. And I thought, well now, Honey likes me, so I had a talk with her that day when everyone was gone and it was just Honey. Lucy still doesn't like me. I did give it a go though. So the part about Honey though and everything she loved is she loved us the most. She loved her daughters. She was so proud of them. She would say to me when no one, she loved to talk to me when no one was around apparently. When no one was around, she said, "I am so proud of Connie and Carolyn. They are so different, but look what they've done." And she would list it off. And then she would start through the grandkids and Travis and Justin and Colleen and Colette. And she'd get to me and she'd go, "And you're so like me. I gotta pray for you." Do you remember that time when you wouldn't say thank you? Do you remember that time when I gave you spanking for not saying sorry? Do you remember that? I said no. She goes, "Well, I'll tell you this story about my brother Jerry." And she put her hand on her hip. She goes, "You know, he's younger than me." I said, "I know." "He was a terrible little kid." I said, "Really?" She goes, "He used to run away from me when I was babysitting and get on the trains." And I said, "On the trains?" "Yeah." So I tied him up. I tied him up to a pole. I said, "What did your mom think about that?" She goes, "She never knew." I said, "Well then." And then she goes, "And if he got loose and got on the train, I just switched him." I said, "Switched him?" She goes, "You know, get a stick and switch him." I said, "Okay." So poor Jerry apparently is worse than me, and I have some stuff. And the thing that Grandma did, the whole love thing, she loved to sing. She loved church. She loved church songs. We would go on long trips and she would sing to us. She's the one that taught me Deep and Wide. She's one that taught me Jesus loves all the little children. All of them, she would say. I feel like there's a lot of them. And sometimes she would talk to me in such deep things that I had no idea what she was talking about. For one, she told this to Desi too. Never marry a man who loves to drink or who is jealous. And she would leave it right there, like nothing else. Nothing else went with it. You just had to figure it out later. We got it figured out. She would tell Danielle later, and Danielle describes it with a spatula in her hand. "You need to learn to cook, Danielle, because that is the way to a man's heart." And when she said that, Ryan, my husband, looked at me and said, "Yeah, what happened?" And I said, "He does love me, though, because he just sung up here." So here is a verse that she wanted me to share with everyone. I'm checking my time. The pastor is behind me. I have a minute. 1 Corinthians 13:13. "Now faith, hope, love abide these three, but the greatest of these is love." And there was a time in my life where I made some pretty poor decisions. I didn't listen to anybody. Lasted about, I'd say, 6 years. Did a lot of harm to my family, did a lot of harm to people I love. And I remember every time she would see me, she would hug me, and she would say, "Sydney, you know what? Apple don't fall far from the tree." And then she'd do that thing with her head. "I want you to know I love you. And I don't know why this is happening, but you know what? You're going to come out on the other side a better person. And I want you to know I love you. And Jesus loves you. Amen. And it will all be okay." My grandma loved us. And the greatest of the whole thing is love. She loved my papa. And she just loved this church. So my parting words, because now I'm over, I can see on my iPhone, is that thank you for everything you've done the last 2 weeks. When we got the big platter of cookies, I know there was real food with it, protein, fat, as he would say, I saw the cookies, and I thought, honey would love that. So, just want to say thank you. And she is celebrating today. I'm telling you what, she's with those angels singing. And Brian's going to come up here and sing again another of her favorite songs. And anytime you see a dove, I don't believe it to be my grandma, but just let it be known that she loves birds. And she's going to be, she might poop on you, but she's going to let you know she's around. And I love her dearly.